These are the kings of classic, cheesy cartoon villainy. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 cartoon villains of the 1980s.
You don't mean you'd leave two defenseless women to fend for themselves? Yes!
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For our series on villains from animated series, we'll be looking at characters that left an impact on kids of a certain decade. In this case, that means the campy glory of the 80s. Although The Simpsons did debut in 1989, you won't be seeing characters like Mr. Burns or Sideshow Bob, as they made their greatest impact in the 90s.
Surely there's no harm in laying in the middle of a public street.
Number 10. Flintheart Glomgold, DuckTales.
I got this job because I promised to do it far faster and much cheaper than Scrooge McDuck could do it.
Scrooge McDuck is, by all accounts, a greedy old duck. But at least he isn't the greediest old duck, as that title belongs to his South African counterpart, Flintheart Glomgold. A ruthless businessman with a drive for wealth that matches Scrooge's, only without even the slightest hint of compassion. Flintheart Glomgold isn't interested in being known as the second richest feathered fellow in the world.
I, Flintheart Glomgold, will be the filthiest, richest duck in the world!
He has a dastardly creative mind when it comes to swindling people and making them do exactly what he wants. Of course, being obscenely rich certainly helps in that regard. Make sure you don't owe this duck money. Otherwise, he'll come after more than just your savings.
My gold!
Number 9. No Heart, the Care Bears.
One day I shall rid the world of all love, all caring, all feeling.
For a show as sickly sweet as this one, it makes sense to have a villain who's as entertaining and outrageous as he is diabolical.
Enough!
Tell me what you have to say, and then get out!
No Heart is so evil that he lives with a perpetual storm cloud around his home. Prone to violent temper tantrums when confronted with even the slightest inconvenience, No Heart may not have the powers of friendship and compassion on his side, but he sure has a lot of magic.
Farewell, Care Bear.
Preferring to use shapeshifting to try and achieve his goals, he can turn into anything from a rhino, to a vulture, to a dinosaur, and even a tornado. Apparently in this case, being heartless means you get all the coolest powers.
First, I'll destroy that bear. Then I'll destroy his home.
Number 8. Cyril Sneer, the Raccoons.
Give up while I'm still in a good mood!
Despite the fact that he would eventually become a sympathetic character later in the series, this sinister aardvark did try to demolish an entire forest on multiple occasions just to make a quick buck.
When I don't know how much money I've got, I get not nice.
He's not above using his pig enforcers to get his way either. A greedy industrialist with a major inferiority complex, there's nothing Cyril Sneer wouldn't do to swindle a poor soul out of their property. He may be driven, but since his plans normally involve wrecking the lives of a lot of innocent animals, you'd be best to avoid making any deals with Cyril.
Prepare to keep the lead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full.
Number 7. The Hunter, Babar. He's only actually featured in this series for a mere 5 episodes, but boy does the Hunter leave a lasting impression. How, you may ask? He shoots Babar the elephant's mother in the opening episode. Now that's evil. After recovering from the trauma of seeing his mother killed, Babar returns to the jungle, becoming the new king of the elephants. This eventually leads to a final battle, in which he burns down the hunter's camp and repels the human forces. His screen time may be brief, but it's the hunter's actions that eventually lead Babar to create a new society for his people. Did we mention he killed a baby elephant's mother?
Mama! Where are you?
Number 6. Dr. Claw, Inspector Gadget.
So, Gadget, you want to be a star, do you? You'll soon be a shooting star.
You never even see what he looks like, but his voice implies so much menace, you just know this guy means business. As the shadowy leader of MAD, audiences never got a good look at Dr. Claw's face, but they sure felt the extent of his villainy. From mind control to sinking entire islands to all manner of assassination attempts, this is one baddie that doesn't play around.
You two have failed me. Gadget is on the moon. Eliminate him, and I mean now.
With his seemingly unlimited funds and minions, it's all the more perplexing that the hapless Inspector Gadget manages to foil his plans all those times. Maybe Dr. Claw would be more successful if he focused on capturing Gadget's far more capable niece instead.
It's a trap!
Number 5. Shredder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Your hairy little friend knows me as Oroku Saki. But you may call me the Shredder.
A kitchen utensil?
These heroes in a half-shell have no shortage of bizarre enemies, but the most lethal among them by far is the leader of the Foot Clan, the Master Ninja known as the Shredder.
I told you, call me the Shredder.
Even in his campiest incarnation, this razor-bladed death machine proves to be just as skilled in martial arts as the Turtles, besting them in battle on a few occasions.
I, and I alone, must defeat my ancient enemy, Hamato Yoshi, and his wretched turtles.
With his legion of foot ninjas, as well as his advanced technology provided by the alien tyrant known as Krang, Shredder more than earns his title as the Turtles' greatest foe.
Miss me by a mile.
Number 4. Gargamel, the Smurfs.
I can feel it. There's happiness in my forest, and I hate it. Cut out that happiness! That's an order from me, Gargamel!
You'd think being an evil wizard would make it pretty easy for you to conquer a small settlement filled with a couple hundred tiny blue people, but apparently not if you're Gargamel.
Show me, oh magic crystal ball, where to find the most miserable creatures of all.
While his motivations for capturing the Smurfs range from wanting to eat them, hoping to use them as a catalyst to turn planar metals into gold, or just crushing them out of spite, none of his plans ever seems to pan out.
The Smurfs are almost mine!
This leads to hilarious outcomes that push him further and further to the edge of his sanity. Still, he keeps on coming back with even more zany plans, so kudos to him for sticking with it. Plus, we can't forget that he did give us Smurfette.
Smurfs for the Smurfette!
Hey, I smurfed her first.
Oh, I did. Smurfette!
Number 3. Cobra Commander, G.I. Joe, a real American hero.
Lead the assault forces!
Where are you going, Commander?
I shall be directing the battle from a remote location.
He may have a voice that could shatter glass, but he's much deadlier than he sounds. Cobra Commander is the supreme leader of the terrorist organization Cobra, and considering they're responsible for every bad thing that happens in the G.I. Joe universe, that's quite an evil accolade. Even though he tends to have his minions second-guess him at every turn, and despite the fact that he was once dethroned, there's no one who can rock a chrome mask quite like the Commander.
Stand back! My troopers may be cowardly, but I'll never yield!
His plans for world domination might often be considered crazy, even by Cobra's standards, but to be honest, that's part of his wacky appeal. Besides, who else would think of hiding rockets within fast food restaurants?
To avert this tragedy, you need only surrender control of your nation to Cobra. You have till dawn to decide. Sleep on it.
Number 2. Skeletor, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Without He-Man to defend it, Castle Grayskull will be ours.
Nowadays, he may be known as a comedic figure with a high-pitched voice that makes us laugh more than it strikes fear into our souls. But back in his heyday, Skeletor was the villain's villain. He had the evil laugh down, a host of unexplained magical powers, and a whole slew of maniacal ideas to take over Eternia.
At last I have the means to conquer Eternia and crush He-Man once and for all.
Sure, having a literal skeleton as the main antagonist is kinda cheesy, but there's no denying his popularity as a cartoon villain.
Fight, you cowards! Fight!
You fight, Skeletor!
He'll always be our favorite evil skeleton, even more so than Baron Dark. And while Hordak was a great villain in his own right, he's still got nothing on our man Skeletor.
At last, nothing can stop me now, not even He-Man!
Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
One human alone could never beat me! So, they imagine that my little snipper-snapper will lead them to my hideout. Well, I have news for them.
Tell me the secret force of darkness.
Number 1. Megatron, the Transformers.
It's just you and me now, Megatron.
Then you better get some help, Prime.
Despite his numerous incarnations over the years, the original leader of the Decepticons has endured as a timeless villain that still holds up to this very day.
You failed to dispose of me when you had the chance, Starscream. Mistake number 2. Now it's my turn.
A ruthless conqueror with an unquenchable thirst for power, Megatron will sacrifice whatever it takes in order to win the war against the Autobots and secure his place as the ruler of the entire universe. While a lot of villains reach for the same goal, this is the guy who can back up his claims with a zero tolerance for failure policy and a ton of firepower. There was also that one time he managed to kill Optimus Prime, so he deserves the top spot for that alone. All hail Megatron.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.